Well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The fairy tale is complete. The Central Coast Mariners, champions of Australia.
Good evening and welcome to Allianz Stadium on Gadigal land in Sydney as the A-League men's competition enters the final month of the regular season. The final straight as sides jockey for their place in the six and finals football. And this evening, two of the form sides going head-to-head. The home team, Sydney FC, who have finally this season made this fantastic stadium a real fortress after struggling for so much of last year here. And they're taking on the best away team in the land, Danny Vukovic and the Central Coast Mariners, the reigning A-League champions, looking to end something of a hoax against Sydney FC. It's the Sky Blues who have won 4 of the last 5 against the Mariners in the A-League, 6 of the last 7 if you add 2 Australia Cup eliminations on penalties into that mix as well. But the Mariners, they do enjoy a challenge. They do enjoy upsetting the form and the history books as they did last season. And they will be hoping to do so again today on the back of what is turning out to be a most formidable defence. Up against them, the top scorers in the competition this season before last night's match between Adelaide, where they scored 4. Let's have a look at the two team sheets, starting with Sydney FC. Ufuk Talay, the coach, has made the fewest changes to his starting 11 this season in the entire league, so no surprises to see just the one from the side that lost to Wellington just before the international break. Jake Girdwood-Reich, one of 3 Ollie Roos in the Sydney FC 11, returns from suspension as Gabriel Lacerda makes way. The midfield 3 of Bratton, Holman and Caceres is unchanged, while in attack, youngster Jayden Kucharski keeps his place alongside Joe Lolly and Robert Mack, the Slovakia international, who scored 4 in his last 5, but has never scored against the Mariners. And for the Central Coast Mariners, well, they haven't played since qualifying for the AFC Cup interzonal final in India 2.5 weeks ago. Jacob Farrell missed that trip with a knee injury and is still missing again this evening. Storm Roo replaces him at fullback. The midfield 3 is also unchanged, led by new Socceroo Josh Nisbet. The second change comes in attack, where Christian Theoharis will operate on the right flank, coming in for the Brazilian Ronald Barcelos. Well, this match has plenty to play for in the ladder as well. Sydney FC need a win to keep the pressure on both MacArthur and Melbourne Victory ahead of them, looking for that top 4 finish, perhaps even a top 2 finish if things really go their way. A win for the Central Coast Mariners and they will move provisionally top of the table, both on wins and goal difference, I'm pleased to say. Earlier today, Melbourne City were held to a scoreless draw by the Jets, which means they missed out on the chance to climb above Western Sydney into the 6 as well. It is going to be a real fight now. A win for the Mariners, not only do they go top, but they will also put real distance between themselves and the chasing pack. Well, there is Mark Jackson. We heard from him in the preview show. Things going swimmingly well. Fantastic atmosphere within the squad. Just 1 loss in their last 23 matches in all competitions. Ufuk Talay, well, his side aren't doing too badly either. Just 1 loss in their last 9. The problem is that came last time out against Wellington Phoenix, his former club. But Sydney are the only side in the last 3 months to have defeated the Central Coast Mariners the last time they met. Sean Evans is our referee, being assisted by Owen Goldrick and Adam Powers. Sam Kelly is the 4th official, and Alex King is the VAR. Brian Kaltak, the leader at the back of the best defence in the land. Anthony Caceres will be looking to unlock it, as he's done so often, including the last time they met. Instrumental in that 3-goal blitz. We are underway at Allianz Stadium. A massive clash between two great rivals, two original rivals of the A-League competition in its 19th season. And Daniel McBreen, one that could have a huge bearing on who finishes where in the race for finals football.
Well, good evening, Robbie. And it is a huge match. Two entertaining teams over the past few months. Plenty of goals as well. And as you say, Mariners will be looking at the other team in yellow, the Knicks, at the top of the table and trying to take that premiership trophy out of their hands and steal it away to the Central Coast.
Great little ball from Joe Lolly for Caceres. Now wide with Courtney Perkins. Jaden Kucharski, the youngster who scored that 120th minute equaliser against the Mariners in the Cup in pre-season, just when it looked as though Sydney could be going out. They ended up winning it.
Well, recent matches between the two tended to go Sydney FC's way. Speaking to some of the Mariners staff and players, something they want to rectify tonight. They feel they owe Sydney one.
Slovakia international Robert Mack with the foul on Brian Kaltak. Came off the bench in the 2-0 loss to Austria last week. And returned to the country just a couple of days ago from international duty. You can add to that this man, Corey Holman, Courtney Perkins and Jake Girdwood-Reich as well, who are in Saudi Arabia with the Olyroos, as Mack tries to thread the eye of the needle for Kucharski there.
He just found himself in a bit of space there, Robbie Mack, didn't he? He was allowed to turn and face forward. I'm sure Mark Jackson will be talking to his defensive line to not let that happen. It's a dangerous position for the Mariners, just a little overhit on the greasy pitch.
We were wondering who would play left back in the absence of Jacob Farrell, perhaps the Brazilian Mikael Doca, who has played on the left earlier this season, replacing Farrell. But it's Storm Roux who gets the job. The vastly experienced Storm Roux in this side, match number 239 in the A-League for the Kiwi fullback. Courtney Perkins with Luke Bratton, who makes his 100th appearance in the A-League for Sydney FC this evening. The man on the ball, Luke Bratton, the former Brisbane champion of Australia. That's going back a fair while now. Girdwood-Reich with Matthews into the feet of Robbie Mack, playing quite centrally so far this evening. Here is Bratton again, looking for Mack. It's intercepted by Bradley Tapp. Loose pass from Torres, but he gets it back, not for long. Ryan Grant this time. Bratton again with Caceres. Playing very narrow, Sydney FC at the moment. Now wide with Courtney Perkins, but Caceres, Mack, Kucharski. No Fabio Gomes, of course, who's on the bench again this evening. Kucharski preferred to him. Holman's headed down with Bratton. Courtney Perkins, who's had a fantastic second half of the season for Sydney FC, with Ryan Grant, who's just signed on another new deal for the veteran. Squares it, good ball in towards Mack, almost fell for Lolly.
Well, that was an intelligent ball from Ryan Grant, wasn't it? Just got his head up, saw Mack on the edge of the box. His touch just let him down as Lolly just looked to sweep underneath him.
Luke Bratton just telling Corey Holman to stay calm in the engine room, not always easy. Ufuk Talay, very talented midfielder himself back in the day. Never played for the Socceroos, but there are a couple of players like that who you think surely wore green and gold. He's one of them. There's another on the pitch at the moment.
Well, yeah, Anthony Caceres. It's only really struck me recently.
Oh, hang on a second, because that's a great ball from Lolly for Robert Mack. And well defended by Brian Kaltak.
Well, that was almost in the same position where Robbie Mack picked up the ball and faced forward before, a little earlier in the match. Central Coast Mariners, look at the space there. And then the first thought is to drop, defend that space. And then Kaltak just gets back and does enough, but it's two dangerous opportunities for Sydney.
It was a blistering start when they met in early January. It saw Sydney up by 3 goals after just 20 minutes. They've made a bright start here as well. Bratton's ball back post. Grant headers back in. Oh, it's so close for the youngster Hayden Matthews. The 19-year-old central defender could have had his first A-League goal there.
Well, it was neat play from Sydney. It's a wonderful ball from Bratton, but the header again, straight back across the 6-yard box, and he just couldn't quite adjust his body, Matthews. Good header from Ryan Grant there, and you see he's just trying to adjust his body, can't quite get enough on it, guided into that far corner. It's a good early start for Sydney FC in this match.
Vukovic pings the ball out towards Storm Roux, but Bradley Tapp, in his rush to get the ball forward, has just given it straight back to Sydney FC, who are dominating possession in this opening 6.5 minutes. Over 70% at the moment. The Mariners don't mind playing without the ball, but they are without it at the moment as Caceres goes on the charge. Docker does just enough. Now Theoharis. No way forward.
It's just been a bit sloppy from the Mariners on the ball, hasn't it? They have won that ball. They've given it away cheaply on a number of occasions already early in this match. We heard that man Mark Jackson say in the pre-match that they need to be brave, they need to play their football.
There are a couple of players capable of doing just that. Angel Torres, the mercurial Colombian, was looking for Josh Nisbet. The freshly capped Socceroo. Angel Torres has been in a bit of a goal drought recently. His last goal actually came in that 3-1 loss to Sydney FC. He's still got 11 so far this term. Holman, that's a great ball again. Mack can turn and face. He was looking for Kucharski, and it was Dan Hall who was well positioned. That's the third time, Mack.
Yeah. And Mark Jackson will be looking at that. And so will Ufuk Talay, saying, well, there's a glaring omission really from the Mariners to not close down that space. 3 occasions now, Mack and Lolly have found themselves able to turn, face forward, play a dangerous ball.
Now Mikael Docker leading the charge. The Mariners into Sydney territory for just about the first time, and he goes again. Mikael Docker looks up. Only Edmondson to aim for in the middle. Now Max Ballard straightens up with Nisbet. Referee gets in the way, and Joe Lolly takes full advantage. Past Storm Roux. Grant back. Well, that's, you can hear the Mariners coaching staff furious that referee Sean Evans got in the way and blocked Nisbet there. At the other end, Kucharskis. His attempted cross is blocked. Kucharski. Kanchelskis?
So it was plural. There was 2 of him out there. Well, he wasn't happy, was he? And his staff. Josh Nisbet just got checked by the referee. Allowed Joe Lolly to break forward.
Now here's Ryan Grant. Back with Hayden Matthews. Courtney Perkins again. Sydney having the ball at the back is one thing, but finding space in those central areas is more concerning. for Mark Jackson. Here's Torres, no way past. It's Lolly back doing the defending. And perhaps the Mariners were expecting that high press from Sydney FC. It hasn't been so much that, it's been in the middle of the park. It's been a very tight press, but just allowing the Mariners to play out a little bit and then squeeze them in.
Yeah, I think the Mariners have been pretty sloppy on the ball, to be honest.
You can see Mark Jackson and Dennis Schofield, his assistant coach, down on the sidelines, very animated at the moment. Let's head down to Neve Owens, who's watching this one on the sidelines for us. Neve.
Yeah, the Mariners bench, Robbie, still having a word with the fourth official here on the sidelines, still not impressed with that accidental block on Josh Nisbet by the ref a little bit earlier on. But as they did last time these teams met, feels like Sydney FC winning that midfield battle so far tonight in perfect conditions, Robbie. 21 degrees, not a breath of wind, perfect football conditions, which is good because the pitch, not in perfect condition. That tricky time of the season where there have rival footy codes on it as well. It's a little bit patchy in places. Hopefully that won't have an impact on what looks to be a cracking contest tonight.
Fantastic, thank you, Neve. Yeah, we can see evidence of another codes matches here on the pitch. More problematic than the lines you can see are the state of the pitch and the fact that it's been cut up a little bit and it's looking a little bit patchy. As you say, patchy's one thing, bobbles are a little bit more troublesome.
Well, Sydney FC haven't really found a problem yet, have they? They've moved the ball around well. They've found space in the midfield. They've driven forward in those areas.
And they're trying to play one-touch football as well, which means they have a certain confidence in the pitch at the moment, certainly in themselves. And well, they might. They're a side that start matches in a very positive fashion. We've scored 11 goals in the first 15 minutes of matches so far. That's nearly twice as much as any other side in the competition. They've opened the scoring more than any other side in the competition. Their problem hasn't been taking the match to opposition, it's been keeping them out at the other end. Just one clean sheet all season for Andrew Redmayne as Grant's ball to the back post will be comfortable enough for Mikael Docker. Ooh, that's clumsy to say the least from Jordan Courtney Perkins through the back of Mikael Docker. When you look at poor old Andrew Redmayne, who's came into this season with 48 clean sheets for Sydney FC, looking to bring up the big 5-0. Well, in this, the 22nd match, he's on 49.
Well, you've got form of keeping keepers away from records, haven't you?
Putting the mockers on. Well, Danny Vukovic.
He had to wait a long time on your commentaries for his record-breaking clean sheet.
He got it in the end, and he's also gone on to bring up number 100 as well. Last time out with the Mariners. Well, he may have struggled for that one to take him beyond Liam Reddy and 92 clean sheets in the A-League. They have 10 clean sheets in their last 12 matches in all competitions. It's a fantastic record as Kucharski finds Courtney Perkins. His cross back in, headed away, only as far as Caceres. His drive, blocked by Bradley Tapp. But it is Sydney right on top.
Yeah, I was about to say, the clean sheets have been coming thick and fast for the Mariners and Danny Vukovic, but Sydney FC are going to really test that tonight. They've started very strongly in this match, the ball around with confidence, finding the space in the midfield.
To end the discussion for now, at least, the Mariners, if they can get a 5th consecutive clean sheet, that'll be equaling the A-League record. And if you add their 2 clean sheets against Odisha, they're already on a club record run of 5 since they've last conceded a goal. And those 2 goals, well, they came against MacArthur in the AFC Cup playoff match. That extra time 3-2, Mark Jackson, he arrived here, his side couldn't score and were conceding goals for fun. They lost their first 4 of the season. Brian Kaltak scoring their only goal. But since then, Goals have been flowing and the defence has tightened up. They've reeled in Wellington at the top of the standings, but Sydney FC have also been growing into this campaign. Torres, he's a player that can make things happen. So is Thea Harris. Goes around Courtney Perkins, finds Torres. Good ball wide for Nisbet. He's barely seen the ball so far in 15 minutes. Storm Roux with Ballard. Kaltak. Ballard again able to turn. Storm Roux. Now for Nisbet. This is better from the Mariners. Their first real period of possession, and they're in behind. Nisbet, the square ball. Edmondson left it. Was hoping to find Thea Harris. In the end, cleared. They come again. The yellow and blue from the Central Coast. Max Ballard. Linked with a move to Portuguese sister club, Portimonense, for next season. Docker again. Good defence on that far side by Anthony Caceres. That free kick will just release a little of the pressure on Sydney FC.
It's a bit of a silly foul, really, isn't it? They just started to get a little bit of pressure, a little bit of field position as well, and then just a silly push in the back eases the pressure.
Andrew Redmayne, for the moment, holding on to that 50th clean sheet. This is his first touch of the football. 17 minutes in. He looks long towards Caceres, met by the head of Bradley Tapp. Edmondson does offer a big target. Dan Hall forward. Bratton down there into space. Just the one goal in the A-League so far for Ryan Edmondson. That came in the 3-0 win against MacArthur last time out, so perhaps, was Ryan Kaltak just giving Danny Vukovic a little more work to do. Sydney's 3 shots hadn't been on target so far. That one was.
He wasn't taking any chances, was he, Danny Vukovic? He thought about picking it up, thought about the back pass. I don't think it was intentional, but he wasn't giving the referee an opportunity.
Edmondson also has a hat-trick in the AFC Cup to his name against Phnom Penh. Courtney Perkins. Caceres. Back for the Olyroos left back. Mariners defending resolutely so far, forcing Sydney to come back. Lolly, that's a nice first touch. Good challenge by Tapp, but it falls for Kucharski. Holman. With Grant, back again. Essentially a 4-4-2 in defence for the Mariners, with Nisbet that first line alongside Edmondson. The pass doesn't come from Thea Harris, but they find Nisbet now. He's got Torres ahead of him on the left. Edmondson at the back post. Storm Roux with the overlapping run. Dinks the ball in left-footed towards Edmondson. You can see he's a right back by trade, Storm Roux.
Yeah, you can see the way he shaped up to the ball there.
Concentrating.
Yeah, couldn't really get the strike and the whip on it that he would have liked if he was down on the right-hand side. See, just sort of sweeps through the ball, doesn't he? It's a awkward sort of strike of the ball, but didn't matter anyway because Edmondson had gone into an offside position.
Redmayne looking long towards Holman. Now Caceres with the second ball. Bratton. Theoharis trying to close down Courtney Perkins, but he's ridden that challenge. Sydney back on the front foot. He just showed too much of that to Docker. Kucharski's got there. Docker's done well. Now Theoharis. Nicely done, Theoharis. Still in possession. With Torres. First time ball for Nisbet. Very well read by the youngster Hayden Matthews. Again, it's a little bit frantic, isn't it? Bratton looking long, but there's no second to put your foot on the ball and have a look up at the moment.
Both teams, both sets of players, just having heavy touches as well, which is just showing the ball to the opposition. Maybe the pitch a little greasy. Maybe that's having a bit to play in that.
Ballard settles things with Rue. Sydney are doing very well to close down Torres and Nisbet at the moment, not affording them any space. Two of the real danger men in this Mariners side. They've clearly done their homework.
I don't think there's many people that don't know that they're two of the best suppliers of opportunities for the Mariners. We've obviously had a very good discussion around that because neither of those two players get on the ball. Sydney players are out like a shot.
Here's Docker, who's also been influential in recent weeks. The pass for Edmondson just didn't quite have the legs to get in behind Girdwood Reich. Mind you, the danger can come from all over the park with the Central Coast Mariners. They have more goal scorers than any other side in the competition. With 15, as that's a good ball, and Kucharski, well, he couldn't get there. Vukovic perhaps did well, but he might yet be forced into action. Great challenge, Kaltak, to close down Robbie Mack.
Well, it was good sweeping from Danny Vukovic, but there was inches in this, wasn't it? Kucharski there, if he could just stick that toe out, I thought he might have been able to just take it around Danny Vukovic, and if not get around him, Vukovic was committed enough that maybe it brought him down and could have been trouble. He seemed to pull out at the last second.
Mind you, Danny Vukovic running at you
I'd pull
outside
out.
the box. Fairly frightening.
I'll admit I have been on the end of a few of his coming out to collect the ball, and you don't want to do it again.
Maybe Kucharski remembers what it feels like. Redmayne. Big unit, Danny Vukovic, as we mentioned, the most clean sheets in A-League history. Played in Belgium and the Netherlands. Was here at the very start with Central Coast Mariners as well. As they've won it back in midfield. Now Nisbet. Those quick feet take him beyond Hayden Matthews. Bratton looking to close him down. Torres has fouled Bratton there. Luke Bratton looking to be that real enforcer in the middle of the park so far tonight.
He did well, Bratton. Got across, just cut off the run of Nisbet, and then was strong in the challenge. You see there, Torres just leaves the leg out, which is enough to bring him down.
At the back, Matthews and Girdwood Reich reunited after Girdwood Reich's suspension after that sending off against Brisbane. missed Sydney's last match in the trip to Wellington, and maybe missing again soon, as Ufuk said. Oh, as that's a poor turnover from Caltac. Oh, and what an opportunity for Joe Lolly. Well, the goals have dried up lately. His last came against Newcastle in January, and he won't get a better chance than that.
Well, no, he won't. I think we all thought that that ball was going to end up in the net. It was Brian Caltac. He just tried to bounce it off Robbie Mack, I believe, for a goal kick, and got it all wrong. It was good play from Courtney Perkins. You see there, gets his head up, picks out his teammate, and for some unknown reason, he's unable to hit the target.
Oh, look at the battle for every blade of grass. No quarter hour still given involving Nisbet, but here comes Sydney again. Kucharski lines up. He hit that with some power, and it was well turned away by Vukovic. That's a real shot in anger.
Well, that midfield battle again. Sydney FC coming out on top, and Kucharski, he had the time and space and unleashed a nice strike. Danny Vukovic with a save that he'd expected to make. First one of the match.
We're expecting this to be Jaden Kucharski's breakout season. After he scored that equaliser in the Cup, he got a double against Adelaide in Ufuk Talay's first game in charge. That 5-1 win at Coopers. And a couple of little niggling injuries. And the minutes have dried up, as well as the goals and everything else, as Theoharis has caught Girdwood right.
Well, there's plenty of strong challenges going in at the moment, isn't there? Both sets of players have been waiting for the whistle on occasion, and then in the end, Theoharis just lashes out and catches Courtney Perkins.
Girdwood Reich.
Girdwood Reich.
He was one of the three Olyroos that could be missing in a couple of weeks for Sydney FC. They've just been away at the West Asian Football Federation, a little mini under-23 tournament that Tony Vidmar took the Olyroos to. But the under-23 Asian Cup is coming up in 2 weeks' time. The first match against Jordan is on the 15th of April. The final is on the 4th of May. That's finals football time. So the likes of this man, Girdwood Reich, and a few others around the league, including Alu Kuol and maybe Jacob Farrell for the Mariners as well, could be missing for most of the final run-in to finals football. Mind you, if they qualify for the Olympics, you'd say it's worth it.
Well, if life's not difficult enough for coaches, they've got to deal with a number of players leaving as they head into the final series. We heard Ufuk Talay talking about it in the pre-match. So they've got a plan in place.
Oh, Robbie Mack, you could hear him screaming as he went to ground there. And I think it looked as though most of the contact was upper body, but clearly someone stepped on a foot there on the way through. Mack has stayed down. The referee will come across to have a look now.
I think it was Brian Caltac, potentially, who came through the back, maybe got a foot just from behind there. It looked like as he stepped to go into the challenge, was it? Or was it Max Ballard from the front?
I think it was Caltac from behind. They dug up about a furrow of turf there as well. It's going to be the Mariners throw in. They will return the ball. Danny Vukovic looks up towards Andrew Redmayne. Sportingly returned. The Cove making plenty of noise. There's a good spattering of yellow and blue around the ground as well, particularly up the opposite end from the Sydney Active support. The travelling support made the trip down the motorway from Gosford. Theoharis taking on Girdwood Reich, manages to get the ball away for Docker into the area. That's well played. Oh, brilliant stuff from Docker. Well, he waited and waited and waited. He thinks he should have a corner. It's a goal kick.
Well, the run just kept going and going and going, didn't it? Theoharis did well. Just here you thought he may have crossed, but he gets across the line of the first defender, goes again, and then as he goes to cross, I'm not sure if it comes back off Redmayne as he tries to cut the ball back. This will be a better angle. Yeah, you can see he comes back off the right thigh. But it was a pulsating run. The defence of Sydney FC was a little lacklustre, wasn't it? Just dangling legs out.
Dangerous when you have a player in the form that Mikael Docker is in as well. I mentioned the 15 different goal scorers. There's only one player on the pitch for the Mariners, apart from goalkeeper Danny Vukovic, who does have a goal to his name in the A-League, that hasn't scored this season. And it's Max Ballard.
And he doesn't score many.
Yet to score. I'm sure that's something he'd like to rectify if he is to leave the club at the end of the season as well.
And there's that challenge from Theoharis. It's a yellow card. It's the second one. A few minutes. You could say it's been a few physical challenges out there. That one a little bit late as well.
Girdwood Reich again. Matthews into the feet of Lolly. Well defended by Roux, who's caught a flailing arm for his trouble. Ballard turns one way then the other. That's a good ball. Kicks out Torres. Overlapping run. Storm Roux quickly back to his feet. He's gone down again this time under the challenge of Joe Lolly. In the walls a little bit, Storm Roux.
Well read from Joe Lolly. The overlapping run, he just stepped across and read the ball.
Now Hall for Docker. Dragged back by Kucharski, and that'll be a second booking of the match. Just a minute after Theoharis, it's Kucharski that joins her in the book.
Makes me wonder how players can complain when they just pull the shirt so blatantly and stop the play and they get the yellow card and they say, "Ref, what for?" Mind you, I'm sure I did that back in my day as well.
Now the free kick for the Mariners, who have settled the ship a little bit after a fairly rocky opening 10 or 15 minutes. They had to batten down the hatches. Now they're looking to be a little more adventurous. Ballard with the free kick towards the back post, but too close to Andrew Redmayne. Hayden Matthews now. Perkins again with Lolly. Another who's signed a new deal with Sydney FC for the next couple of seasons. Kucharski back again with the former Nottingham Forest man. Oh, that was missed by Bradley Tapp. Challenge by Bratton that just caught enough of Yes, but Bratton thinks it's a free kick. He hasn't heard the whistle yet. Well, that's how little of a free kick he thought it was.
I'm sure he thinks it's a foul.
Still waiting, trying to play on. Torres. Grant and Lolly have done an excellent job keeping that left-hand side of the Mariners' attack quiet at the moment. Oh, as Docker has run into trouble, and that's a poor pass. There was time and space.
Well, you mentioned Sydney FC keeping that left-hand side quiet. Well, they've done a good job across the park, haven't they? No shots at all.
Spectacular defensive header from Stormrow.
There's a lot of space there, wasn't there, for the run? You had to get there. And if you thought Ryan Grant was going to slow down as he gets into his 30s, you were sorely mistaken.
Here's Edmondson, it was a nice touch. Edmondson closed down by Goodwood Wright, manages to get the cross in. Comfortable enough for Redmayne, and Ryan Grant's back there as well.
He still loves to get forward, doesn't he? Create problems for the opposition. His work rate is immense.
Match number 283 for Sydney FC tonight in the A-League, that is. Well over 300 in all competitions for the Sky Blues, as Stormrow and Joe Lolly have caught each other again there. Now, that's a yellow card for Lolly. So that's 3 yellow cards in a flurry in this one. Lolly's not impressed, but Stormrow has been on the receiving end of a few challenges at the moment.
See there, the arm goes straight up. He's in a jumping motion. He collects Stormrow right across the bridge of the eye. You can see why he wasn't happy with that.
That's cut him open, I think.
Plenty of claret on the face. There you go, you can see he didn't miss, did he? Oof.
Oh, yes.
Well, we're seeing Reb
He's
just saw himself
just
on the big screen.
exactly.
Shades of Alana Kennedy, didn't it? It's not really a laughing matter, though, is it? Split right open. And the Mariners staff and players are saying, well, is it worthy more than a yellow?
Well, there was a period a few years ago you weren't allowed to jump with your arms. It was one of the real things they tried to get out of the game. Well, that's a bad challenge.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to lead with your arms like that. Lolly's saying it looks bad on the big screen. Yes, it does.
Well, it does look bad. It is a jumping motion that you tend to throw your arms up like that, but you're right. You have to think about the welfare of the players around you. And when the end result is a gash on the head like that, well,
it's not the first time this season we've seen Stormrow come back with the full head bandage as well. That might even be a wound from this season that's opened up again there. It doesn't help when you've been cut before with the scar tissue. Have to clean himself up, but he'll be looking to get back into the action as soon as possible. Oh, that's risky from Ryan Grant. Edmondson back across the face of goal. Now Ballard arriving, looking for that elusive first ever A-League goal, but Ryan Grant apologising there to his team.
well, and they trying to save a corner. He's almost put his team under real danger there. He got away with it in the end. And poor old Andrew Redmayne was nowhere near the goal. Just looked back and saw Edmondson looking for the challenge and was hoping that he wasn't going to get a clean header.
Stormrow is changing his shirt down on the sideline. Getting all taped up. I think last time, if memory serves me correctly, earlier this season, the bandage lasted about 5 minutes before it came off. He had a bit trailing behind him. Looked like something out of an Indiana Jones movie for a while, but he's going to be back now. Lolly on the ball towards Kachauskas. That's a clever touch for Courtney Perkins. Oh, across the face of goal. Brilliant goalkeeping from Danny Vukovic. An outstretched leg, I think, that just denied Robbie Mack. And now the break is on the other end. A bandaged up Storm Roux. Oh, with the early pass, but too early. Angel Torres.
Well, chances at both ends. Some brilliant play from Sydney FC. Wonderful ball here, and that little flick on from Kachauskas is fantastic. Courtney Perkins assesses the situation, and it's Brian Kaltak who gets the touch in before Joe Lolly. That's wonderful defending. Joe Lolly looked to have got across the front and was odds on to tuck that one away. Some great play from both teams, both in attack and in defence.
You can see the type of desperation it takes at the back to give you 10 clean sheets in a season, which is what the Mariners have.
And at the moment, Talley must be thinking, what have we got to do? A clear shot on goal from just inside the penalty spot. 2 yards out, a covering tackle to save it. Put plenty of pressure on this Mariners defence.
Yeah,
been able to open it.
The Matthews header,
yep.
Kachauskas shot saved. Joe Lolly with a great opportunity in the opening couple of minutes, and perhaps another one here with Mack. Robbie Mack, so dangerous in these situations. And again, the scrambling defence just enough, but the flag was up for offside.
Just here you'll see, just straight into an offside position. No one was to know though. Dan Hall lets him back in on his right foot. Flag went up just as Danny Vukovic fell on the ball.
Oh, the referee's got the card out again, and this time it's going to be for Luke Bratton. On Thea Harris. Wasn't gone back in. No, it's still out, the card.
They're starting to rack up the yellow cards.
Oh, Bratton, like he knows what's coming, he doesn't want to get up. If you're going to give me a bookie, I'm just going to sit here. There it is.
Playing really, can he?
No, he was late.
Yeah. I saw Thea Harris with a late one like that early on. He got booked for.
Mind you, it does look like it would have hurt as well. There you go, referee, I'll help you up, but you still get a yellow. Oh, it's Mikael Docker.
Well, it's a shot.
It is. It's a first of the night for the Mariners. I'm not sure the coaching staff and his teammates will have appreciated it.
Well, it came from their own half. Not sure if it was on target either. Was it just going wide? So we'll have to wait and see what the statisticians say on that one.
That does belie his Brazilianness, shall we say, to try something that spectacular. Ballard back with Docker again. Thea Harris with the little touch out wide. Dan Edmondson taking off ahead of him, but it was rushed and difficult. And now Bratton back. Flag is down for the moment, not for long. Up it comes. He's always taking off just off the shoulder, Robbie Mack.
Just drifted a little too early. We saw Edmondson at the other end just seconds before the same. Tallow just telling the subs what he wants in the second half.
Holman with Kachauskas, Caceres. Well, there was so much made of the playmakers, of the attackers on the park in this one. This has been very much a defender's game. Caceres again with Lolly. He's done well, Joe Lolly. Now into the feet, Kucharski thought about giving it back. Held on to it. It's very crowded on the edge of that penalty box. Caceres won't get there, but it's taken a touch off Mikael Docker. As the 45 minutes ticks over, there'll be 3 minutes of added time. And it's Sydney FC who are finishing this half on the front foot, just as they started it. Taken short. Caceres again. On the right foot, the cross in towards the back post, Ryan Grant. Well, he was wrestling with Mikael Docker. And in the end, he gave away the free kick. Vukovic looks long. Raking ball forward towards Torres.
Well, you said it's been a game for the defenders, Robbie. Sydney FC as a unit defensively have been outstanding, haven't they? They've given Central Coast Mariners a whiff of their goal. For the Mariners, it's been that desperate defence at the last minute, last moments.
There might yet be some defending to do for the Sky Blues. Docker with tap. Keeping Harry Steele out of the starting 11 these days, Bradley Tapp, with Nisbet playing higher up the pitch. Oh, the defensive header not the best from Ryan Grant. Looked as though the ball surprised him almost. Tapp again with Docker. Can the Mariners carve out something here? It's just dropped into the box towards Edmondson, hoping that his height can make the difference. It doesn't on that occasion. We're into the last 60 seconds of the first half. Dan Hall, who scored the winner against Sydney FC last season, with the clearance, and the flag is up for offside against Edmondson. So the way Sydney have been dominating possession, 65 to 35% in this half. The Mariners will do well to see the ball again in this last 30 seconds. And just confirmation, as Magga's pointing out to me on the screen, Docker's kick from 65 metres out was not given as a shot in the statistics.
That was clearly a shot. He was trying to catch Redmayne off his line.
Oh, as here, we're back on the front foot. Mack, his cross beyond Kucharski. And just as Courtney Perkins was winding up, it's cleared by Theoharis. I thought for a moment that was half-time. It is now, from referee Sean Evans, who dipped into his pocket 4 times for yellow cards, but wasn't required to note down a goal scorer in a very tight and tactical first half of football. Sydney FC, the home side, who defeated the Mariners last time these two sides met, have had the better of it. It's been a tough and bloody affair with defences right on top. No goals to report at half-time. At Allianz, Sydney FC 0, Central Coast Mariners 0.
Don't let a car accident get you down for the count.
So while my car is being repaired, car is delivers me the car until my repairs are done. I choose car peace, so I don't miss a beat.
Cars, accident replacement vehicles.
Experience, the teacher of all things. It's what makes you, you. And it's at the heart of every Macquarie University degree. It means you can combine virtual and on-campus learning and personalise your degree. It means courses that are created by industry leaders and degrees with inbuilt internships. When you're powered by our collective, you get the experience you need to get ahead. That's you to the power of us, Macquarie University.
It's half-time here at Allianz Stadium, and tonight we welcome Christopher Suffield and Joshua Ryan to a senior season. Howard Chair, first team players, Christopher is one of the most active Cowboys players. Has joined the senior season Howard Chair team. 2024, Joshua on my left, and the reigning 2023 City FC Howard Chair Player of the Year. Tonight, both Christopher and Joshua will tell us a bit about the City FC Howard Chair programs and how you can support tonight. Start off with Chris. Chris, what does playing for the City FC Howard Chair team mean to you?
Well, I've been really fortunate to get the opportunity to play for the club this season. I've seen us develop a young and talented roster, and it's just been a really great opportunity for me to come and let that leadership to help them get to the next level.
And Joshua, you've been with City FC for a while. Can you tell us about some of the benefits about being involved with the City FC team?
Obviously, there's a lot of inclusivity, and we're always connected with the Sydney FC team, unlike some others. And yeah, we're always there.
Chris, for you, what do you have about your football on home soil mean to you?
I think every athlete dreams of winning the World Cup on home soil. That was just a fantastic.
And finally, Josh, how have you found being involved with the City FC
This year's Alex Tobin Medal is brought to you by Isuzu Ute, awarded to the best player of the season as nominated by the Paramount ANZ football team. The winner of the prestigious award will receive $10,000. Plus, the Isuzu Ute Alex Tobin medalist will nominate a junior football club of choice to win a brand new, top-of-the-range Isuzu D-Max or 7-seat MUX to be announced during the grand final. To stay in touch with the leaderboard, tune in for weekly updates at your home of football.
A-Leagues.com.au is the official home of the A-Leagues and your match week and club companion. Access to dynamic match week coverage, including the latest news, video, highlights, stats, live scores, fixtures, results and ladders, and so much more from your favourite A-League spot.
Liberty Home Loans hit different. The evidently leaders, the go-getters. It's the Phoenix. So if you're a free thinker, you'll be right at home. Liberty Loans for free thinkers.
Liberty proudly supports the A-Leagues, the free thinkers, the game changers, and the goal kickers, both on and off the field. Bring your lending dreams to life with Liberty Loans for free thinkers. Place your bid to win some incredible prizes in our silent auction and support the City FC Foundation. Scan the QR code on the big screen to get involved.
Part of the worldwide Allianz Group, with over 100 years in Australia. We're ready for changing vehicles.
What are you doing? School principal. It's called robbery. What are the chances? We're actually trying to get out of the best just a little outside the catchment area. Anything we can do?
She said, is there anything you can do?
Welcome back to Allianz Stadium. Both sides making their way back out onto the pitch, and we're going to have a couple of changes at the start of the second half as well. A Brazilian feel, or a bit more of a Brazilian feel. Fabio Gomes comes in to replace Jadon Kucharski, and Ronald Barcelos, who's on loan from Portimonense in Portugal, he comes on for Christian Theoharis. Barcelos, who's just been starting to find some form in recent weeks as well. He scored against MacArthur in the league after scoring the winner against them in the AFC Cup. And perhaps those two introductions will give us a little bit of that attacking spark that was missing in the first 45 minutes, where defences were very much on top. One last word of advice from Mark Jackson via the translator into the ear of Ronald Barcelos. All understood, not lost in translation, hopefully not for Mark Jackson. He's got a big South American feel. Michael Torres needs the Spanish. There was Marco Tulio as well, who was the Brazilian, but now we are all set. There is the towering frame of Fabio. He's won more headers than any other player in the league this season by quite some distance. But it's the Mariners, Daniel McBreen, that get this second half underway. And I can't remember a half of football where they had just one shot in the first half, and that was from nearly 70 metres out.
Well, exactly. It was a very good display from Sydney in the opening 45 minutes. It'll be interesting to see how they'll go about trying to unlock this Sydney defence, because they press well as they are here from the front. But they have not given the Mariners a sniff.
There's a heavy little touch there from Barcelos, and Sydney have it straight back again. Caceres with Corey Holman, who was playing alongside his MacArthur-based brother Jake in the Olyroos. In midweek, they went all the way to the final, losing on penalties against Korea Republic of the West Asian Under-23 tournament. Tap again is there to help out his defence and nip the ball away off the toe of Robbie Mack. Both sides screaming for the throw-in. It's always the most hotly disputed thing in football, isn't it? Throw in 35 metres out. Less than 90 seconds into the second half. As though your life depended on it.
It's all the small details, Robbie.
Docker, clever little nod down, all for Ballard, who the idea was there. Storm Roux, who's lost the head bandage. Must have had the stitches put in at half-time. Cleverly done. Ryan Grant now all the way back with Luke Bratton. Birdwood Reich helps it on its way to Courtney Perkins, towards Fabio. Good little glancing touch towards Mack, and again Kaltak putting his body on the line. Ball. Now Docker. He's done well again. Mikael Docker. Ballard just enough contact perhaps from Anthony Caceres.
Well, they're relentless, aren't they? Sky Blues in their press. Don't allow the opposition any time on the ball. Constant pressure.
Now Grant again for Mack. Mackey's done well to win it back again off Storm Roux. Looks up, crosses deep to the back post. You can see what his intention was. Take out Vukovic while giving Fabio a chance. Edmondson being the target at the other end, trying to win it, and has done.
It was those little moments that just led to that cross that Sydney FC have been winning tonight as well. Torres picked up the ball and then underhit it to Storm Roux. He lost out on the challenge. There's been 3 or 4, if not more, of those occasions tonight where the pass hasn't really been that great. The determination from Sydney FC to win the ball has been greater.
Yeah, there was a lot of space in the midfield, but the Mariners couldn't do anything with it. Both sides making one change at half-time. I thought there was going to be a little more movement all of a sudden down there as the Cove continue to bring the atmosphere to Allianz Stadium. Ballard again. Torres with Nisbet. Again, the touches, everything's just a little bit off at the moment for the Mariners. Lolly taking on 2 and getting the better of them. Lolly on the left foot, blocked by Bradley Tapp, appeals for a penalty. Well, he has been a 3rd central defender this evening, Bradley Tapp.
Yeah, did well there and covered. Somehow Joe Lolly managed to squeeze between 2 Central Coast Mariners defenders, and you see Brad Tapp, he read the play. Look at him, gets his back, gets his line in the, his body in the line of the ball.
It was goal bound. Lolly again drives it in. The header from Courtney Perkins. It's out for a goal kick. So let's head down to Neve Owens on the sideline, or that's taken quickly. Neve, we might get to you in just a moment, the next stoppage, to find out what the coach has said at half-time, because that goal kick, Danny Vukovic was trying to get Barcelus away quickly, in behind. But when they've tried to get in behind, they've given the ball away so quickly. Again, Vukovic looking up and quickly finds Kaltak. Where the Mariners, when they've managed to find a little bit of space in the middle of the park, it's not there for long. Bratton's challenge for Fabio now, trying to turn one way then the other, and it's cleared by Storm Roux. Nisbet now, good challenge. Bratton, Barcelus looking for the free kick and he gets it. It'll be a free kick for the Mariners. Referee wants Caceres to get back out of the way.
You can see there, Miguel Torres just got his body across between player and ball, forced the foul.
Now Nisbet again, trying to have a bigger influence on this contest than he did in the first 45 minutes. They've struggled to get him on the ball, but that's a nice pass, and look at Torres racing away. It needed to be a first-time ball, it's not, but they have an attacking throw.
Well, that's the first time that the Mariners have really got him behind with a threaded pass. As you say, Robbie, the first time ball across to Barcelus was on, and once he had a touch, Torres, the moment was lost.
He's got a fantastic left foot on him as well. Miguel Torres, oh, that's a clever touch from Docker. Referee says free kick. Storm Roux it was, in fact. He tried to give as much advantage as possible. There was none forthcoming.
He was just a little late, wasn't he? Storm Roux just got there first, and you just see there clips the heels. It's a dangerous position now.
And Hall has come forward. Miguel Torres standing over it. Edmondson, Kaltak and Hall, obvious targets in the middle. along with Brad Tapp. Torres with one arm raised. Ballard is the other, shaping to take it. Torres' ball, oh, he's gone direct for goal, oh, spilt by Redmayne, right under his own crossbar. And at the time he dropped it, he was under no pressure. By the time he got it back, he was under a lot.
I think Torres was actually going for goal there. It was going to take something special, you felt, but Andrew Redmayne just got it wrong, didn't he? You see there as he's falling, it's going out of his reach. Panic stations all of a sudden, but managed to gather at the last moment.
Now Ballard. Under a little bit of pressure, gets it back. Oh, and again, it's been one high up the pitch. Ryan Grant doing the press. The Mariners have been looking to break free. There was not many bodies back at home. Now Barcelus wrestling. Caceres now breaks through. Releases Mack. Oh, and he couldn't take it in his stride. And the flag was up for offside anyway. Now let's head down to Neve Owens. Neve, you're still there.
I'm here, Robbie, and both coaches are as well. They've been up and about throughout this game. Wolfie Talley said to the boys at half-time that he was really happy with that first half. He stressed they needed to keep the tempo, the intensity high, keep moving the ball quickly. He said they had a lot of ball in wide areas. He wants more deliveries to come into the box off the back of that possession, and he warned them to be really careful about the Mariners in transition, just how quickly they can break. The Mariners, on the other hand, said they were calm in defence, but Jacko wants to see more of that calmness in attack in this half.
Thank you, Neve. Yes, the Mariners have not been so careful in possession. Turning the ball over a lot, and so many of their potential transitions have not made it the full length of the field, and that's something we're not accustomed to with them. Here's Barcelus. Trying to rectify that now down the right-hand side with Docker. Barcelus waits and waits and waits. Now he needs to find another option. Does so with Tapp. It's not anymore a transition because they come all the way back with Rue now and Hall, and you can see that Sydney press. You can hear Ufuk Talay screaming at his players now to press up. Mack. Oh, it was a great first touch around Rue, and he almost got past Kaltak as well. Now they've got Lolly in space. This is those wide areas. Joe Lolly drives the ball in. Mack, oh, Fabio at the back post. It almost fell for him. Dan Hall did brilliantly. Still, Sydney come. Holman, the shot from Joe Lolly on that left boot, trying to curl it inside that far post.
It just feels like the game's opening up a little here. This is that first ball whipped in from Lolly. Dan Hall gets it away. And then as the ball comes back in, it's Joe Lolly on the edge of the box. Just can't get the radar on. It's just opened up a bit. FC still pressing. They do. You mentioned it early in the game. When they had possession, they had very narrow bodies. The Mariners have possession, they try to get a box midfield happening as well, so those narrow bodies end up being man-on-man and overloading as well, without the ball and then with the ball.
Changes coming for the Central Coast Mariners. Bradley Tapp. Is it? No, it's Edmondson and Storm Rue. The players making way for Harrison Steele and Alu Kuol. Yeah, it's not meant to be Storm Rue coming off. They've shown the wrong player. Storm Rue's now gingerly trying to walk back onto the field of players, though nothing's happened. And now they've got to work out 26. It is Bradley Tapp who's coming off. Well, that was a lucky moment. Brad Tapp looked up and started to make his way off, and then Storm Rue walked off.
Gave himself up.
Maybe there's a bit more to that blow to the head. Well, that's a more logical change in the middle of the park anyway. Steele for Tapp, and up front Kuol for Edmondson. And Qual, who got a couple of goals in that under-23 tournament. As Mack gets it back out. Caceres, so hard to dispossess, even when surrounded by yellow and blue. Girdwood right, with Courtney Perkins. Hayden Matthews now, keeping Lacerda out of the starting 11. Testament to his progress this season as Lolly's ball in for Fabio! Well, how close was Sydney FC to opening the scoring there? In the end, it was relatively straightforward for Danny Vukovic. It shouldn't have been.
Well, it was a wonderful ball in on the turn, wasn't it? Gomez, he gets the toe to it and just doesn't really get any power. You expect him there to use the pace of the ball just to guide it in, and just gets too soft to touch.
And now Alu Qual's first touch is at the other end as he drills it towards that bottom corner. It might just have been curling wide. But now two substitute strikers, both into the action.
Well, that's what Alu Qual gives you. See there, just quicker off the mark. Willing to take the strike on the angle. It's a good save from Redmayne. I just think when Mariners are under this kind of pressure and they'll have to play out through that pressure, I think Alu Qual gives them a better outlet going forward with his runs in behind.
Corner for the Mariners. In it comes, trying to get there. Harrison Steele at the back post. Barcelus back out. Ballard's ball in. Hall has stayed forward. No free kick. Yes, in the end, Sean Evans had a long look at it down in front of the Mariners supporters, who you could hear were not so impressed.
He got up very early, Dan Hall, as that ball came in. You can see he's up over the top of Girdwood right, into the back of the head.
Well, the Mariners already made 3 of their 5 potential substitutions. Torres. Touchback with Rue, who rides the first challenge. Pratt unable to control it. He wasn't too impressed, I don't think, with the throw from Ryan Grant. There's Torres again. That's a good challenge. Throwing himself at everything. Torres falls on the ball.
He certainly hasn't been himself tonight, Angel Torres, has he? Whether that's a little bit of him, but the pressure that Sydney FC are putting on him as well. But he's had a couple of opportunities where he's under-hit passes and just hasn't quite found the mark.
And Stormroot is leading again. Doctor wants to have a proper look at it. They've got to get that sorted because they can't have him coming on and off the whole time. They've just, looks like they've called over Nathan Paul. We know that that is an option, to switch to 3 at the back with Paul as part of that back 3, as here goes Lolly again. Cuts it back onto the left, now crosses, back post, Mack is there. He sends it back towards Joe Lolly. Mack still trying to keep that goal-scoring run scored. He scored in his last 3 for Sydney FC. And they're not going to take any more chances with Stormroot and trying to stop the bleeding, so it is going to be Nathan Paul who comes on. And so maybe this could mean that change in formation back towards a sort of 3-4-3 with Docker pushing further up on the right-hand side. The question is, who does that job on the left?
Well, at the moment, looks like Nathan Paul is going to slot into that left-back position, but we'll keep an eye on that as the game unfolds.
And that means that there's only one sub left for the Mariners. Oh, as Barcelus loses out to Matthews. Now Lolly with Holman. Back for Lolly. Courtney Perkins with Caceres. Looks up. Holman, first time ball for Mac. Little nod down, it's clever football. And again for Sydney FC, it's that final touch that's lacking.
Some of the lead-up play tonight from Sydney FC has been exceptional. They just can't seem to find that golden touch to finish it off.
The nod on from Torres. Towards Qual. Now Fabio has got the better of Paul. Lolly again, dink in towards Robbie Mack. Not the easiest one for him, but Caceres is arriving. Now Fabio, this is nicely worked. The cutback from Fabio just didn't have enough legs again. And this is becoming worryingly repetitive for Sydney FC.
Yeah, it is. It's a feel of the moment of just not if, but when Sydney FC are going to get that final strike. Some of the play, they've opened up this Mariners defence.
Does not agree. Let the throw go Sydney's way. Perkins, well, it just slipped out of his hands, I think, as he went to try and look for Robbie Mack down the wing. No free kick for Barcelus. Ballard having to work very hard in midfield. Ballard turning himself, he must have almost got dizzy.
Well, every way he turned, there was a blue shirt. He was trying to find a yellow one to release, but couldn't.
And there is always the sky blue door leg in the way, and here goes Lolly. Drives it in low towards Mack. And again Dan Hall with an outstretched leg. Does just enough. No way through for Barcelus. Sydney FC have it back again. They are causing the Mariners all sorts of headaches out there. 65 minutes gone. It's still scoreless. But the intensity is just rising again. Let's head down to Neve Owens very quickly. Down on the sidelines for a little update, Neve.
Just an update on that Storm Roux substitution, Robbie. Unfortunately, copped that knock from Joe Lolly in the first half, and they just couldn't get the cut to stop bleeding. He had the head bandaged up, but the blood kept coming through, so they had to make that Storm Roux substitution. He's on the bench now, and thankfully, it's looking like they're having some success in stopping the bleeding, but unfortunately, that was the end of his night.
Well, it is a shame. It does look like the stitches are in there already during half-time. Now, Courtney Perkins. He's a very fit young man. He's suffering a little bit from cramp, but I think that's to do with the amount of travel he's done. Or is there a little twing in that hamstring as well? That's not good for the Ollie Roux. If it is that, it looked like cramp at first. And there's going to be a substitution, and it's a ready-made one. At left back, Socceroo replaces Ollie Roux. Joel King, who was a late call-up to the Socceroo squad for their 2 matches against Lebanon, comes into the game, and he will slot straight in at left back. The Mariners fans still in the game, still haven't conceded a goal. And they have the quality to hit on the counter-attack. The question is, can they get their heads up above water long enough to have a look at where the goal is, because Sydney are right on top here. Edward Wright forces Matthews back. Grant with Holman. Good challenge from Paul. Torres. with Barcelos coming central. Overlapping run from Docker. This is better from the Mariners. Docker hits it near post. And doesn't force Redmayne into the save.
Well, that's another rare moment down this end for the Central Coast Mariners. Docker, a speculative effort, forced wide by Joel King, and Andrew Redmayne had it covered. There hasn't been too much joy in that final third for the Mariners. It's been, a lot of it's been down to the relentless pressure of Sydney FC. The Mariners have the ball.
Well, only MacArthur have scored more goals in the last 15 minutes of matches than the Central Coast Mariners. We're in the 70th minute now, so we're getting closer to that time. Sydney FC, one of the rare sides that score more in the first half than the second. They haven't been able to do that so far, but they are really starting to get a taste for it here. They come again, and look at the space for Joe Lolly. Kaltak comes out to try and stop him. It falls for Caceres, the former Mariner, and now Mack. Can't turn inside Hall, and it's Ballard that gets it clear.
Well, there's been a couple of opportunities down that Sydney right-hand side. Nathan Paul, left back, accustomed to that position, up against one of the league's most dangerous men out there in Joe Lolly. Again, it came down to some real desperation from the Mariners defenders.
Joel King's ball. Vukovic thought about coming for it. It's the tag team of Hall and Kaltak that do the damage there. Sydney favouring the two flanks. Little touch back, well that's cleverly done. Grant, too much pace for Torres, a little too easy. Robert Mack, able to turn, still Mack, looking for a bit of space, Caceres now. Flick out the back for King, and again it's too much iffing and ahhing from Sydney FC in attack. No way forward for Barcelos. Free kick for Sydney FC. In a very dangerous position. They haven't been able to do it from open play. Perhaps a set piece could provide the way forward.
Well, it's good play from Robbie Mack. Knew that Kaltak was coming. Just flicked the ball around the corner and waited for the foul to come.
Sydney FC have scored 8 goals from corners this season, but only 1 from an indirect free kick and none from a direct free kick. Luke Bratton is standing over it. Luke Bratton places the ball. It's generally the indication of who's to strike it, but Joe Lolly is also looking to just put a little bit of doubt in Danny Vukovic's mind as to who's to strike this. It's not a regular goal scorer by any stretch, Luke Bratton. It's blocked by the wall. It may have been heading towards that top left-hand corner. Still no goal for either side, even if Sydney are asking the questions. Here's Fabio now, palmed away by Vukovic. Well, he didn't have really any other option but to go for goal. It could have fallen for someone.
Well, it's relentless pressure, isn't it, from Sydney? With and without the ball, they are dominating this match. 15 shots now to 3. They're 4 on target, though.
Lolly again. Joe Lolly Straight past Nathan Paul. And again the cross in. And there's the finish! And it's the former Mariner, Anthony Caceres, who strikes again. The hero of the 3-1 victory between these two sides 3 months ago, strikes again. It was a long time in coming, but it's a deserved lead for the Sky Blues.
Well, on the Harvey Norman replay, we'll see Sydney FC have caused some problems down that right-hand side, and this man in particular. It's a wonderful ball, and Brian Caltech's just a little slow to get out off the line. And it's just that little hesitation that allows Anthony Caceres to nip in front, and that is a quality finish from a quality player. And you think that means something to that bench. Look at that. They've been pressing, they've been probing, they've been creating. They just couldn't find a finish. And Anthony Caceres steps up with a truly quality finish to put Sydney ahead.
Well, he's nearly at 250 A-League matches. That's his 5th goal against the Central Coast Mariners, the side that gave him his start in professional football. It's more than he's scored against any other opponent. And now, Alu Kuol straight up the other end. Very well defended, but perhaps he just should have hit it when it was there in the offing. Well, there'll be no 5th consecutive A-League clean sheet for Danny Vukovic and the Central Coast Mariners. But now we'll see the character of Mark Jackson's side. In Gosford 3 months ago, they found no answers to that first half blitz. What can they find here? Marcelus gets the better of Bratton. Kuol with Nisbet. Look at the space for Torres. Marcelus is in the middle. Torres taking on Matthews. Still Torres. And the youngster, with the help of the veteran Ryan Grant, come out on top. How about that pass from Luke Bratton? Dan Hall just got there.
Well, I think you'll see this game open up. Mariners have to go and chase it now. Just 1 loss in 23 matches in all competitions. That last loss against Sydney FC.
Dan Hall has lost a shin pad in that challenge. He hasn't realised yet. It's understandable, it's tiny. I'm sure someone will see it in a moment. Not allowed to play without shin pads. It's part of the protective gear, as that's a good ball. Mac, oh, fantastic pass, what a challenge. And now Joel King, he's never scored in the A-League, he has now. 2-0. And the Mariners have no answers. Sydney FC are on their way.
Well, despite all the efforts from Brian Caltech to save the day, the Harvey Norman replay will show Sydney FC carved them up. Great defence there, and when you think Joel King scored, he gets back Brian Caltech, and the replay comes, and he reacts the quickest. Fine volley in the near corner. Nothing Danny Vukovic could do about that. And the pressure, the unrelenting pressure of Sydney FC has opened the floodgates. And it's 2-0 in a dominant performance from Sydney.
Well, it's taken 88 A-League matches, but Joel King finally has his name on the scoreboard. His 12th appearance of this season. He's so often had to play second fiddle to Courtney Perkins. there was no answer for the Mariners, not before Sydney could find a second goal. Robbie Mack is making way now. That was a cheeky little back heel that Kaltak just cleared away from Fabio. You have to feel for Kaltak. That clearance off the line is one of the most spectacular defensive plays of the year, and for nothing.
Yeah, it was almost like he was a one-man wall trying to hold off the barrage. Got a toe in, got back behind his keeper to chest it away. There's not nothing he could do. It was rifled back in from Joel King.
Max Burgess into the game at the expense of Robbie Mack, who's still without a goal against the Central Coast Mariners, but he won't mind too much with the scoreboard reading the way it is. Our coaches and players that aren't representing their countries will often tell you that they're not big fans of the international break. Certainly the international break hasn't done the Mariners much good by the looks of things. Mind you, take nothing away from this Sydney FC side, who have had the wood on the Mariners in the last 3 seasons. That's a good touch from Torres for Nisbet. He's looking back for Torres, but again it's dealt with. Lolly quickly forward towards Fabio. Both players going for it. Well, there's how it stands. The Mariners miss out on heading top at the moment, unless they have something special in reserve. Sydney FC, on the other hand, close up to within a point of victory in MacArthur as Redmayne comes and clears. Oh, now has he hurt himself there? That wasn't a clean strike of the ball.
He's just cold. He's had not much to do tonight.
It's true. He's just had that one save in the second half from Alu Kuol. When that ball is hit, dealt with. Oh, there's a clash of heads as well between Girdwood, Reich and Kuol there, the two Olyrood teammates. Good turn, Lolly. Space for Fabio as well. He's able to turn. He helps it on its way for Caceres. Still Caceres. He couldn't turn, but he's kept the ball alive with Lolly now. And again looking for Fabio to the back post, but it was overhit.
Well, since Fabio Gomez has come on, you have noticed Joe Lolly, any opportunity to get a cross into the box, he has done so. Central Coast Mariners coaching staff trying to work out how do they turn this one around. We haven't had any answers so far.
Now Burgess. Ryan Grant. His turn to get forward. The cross for Fabio is beyond him. And King can't keep it in play. Back in Australia after that aborted move to Denmark, well, a move that didn't work out anyway for Joel King, who was loaned back to Sydney FC after 6 months before re-signing. Joe Lolly is helped back to his feet, another player struggling a little bit with cramp. 8 minutes left. Plus stoppage time. There is time for the Mariners, but they need to do something differently.
Well, they do. They've tried so far today, hasn't worked at all. There'll be another team, Wellington Phoenix, at home watching this and rubbing their hands and thinking about that April 6 fixture. They have to travel to the Mariners. There'll be a lot riding on that one.
Torres, nice turn. Looking back for Kuol, he had an option to his left in Nisbet, which he didn't use. And now Alu Kuol. Well, he's just been running through players, fouling on his way, but I guess at least that's some desperation.
It's one of his qualities, isn't it? His fighting character. Just getting a little bit too involved there. Frustration setting in as well.
Sydney FC are preparing another change with Nathan Amanatides about to come into the game as the Cove have found their bounce. Fabio got the glancing touch. Burgess has done well. Ooh, and it's just a judge to have fouled Brian Kaltak. That substitution. Well, Tale maybe just said we'll go for another phase first before making that change. Marcelus with Steele. Torres. Nisbet back. Torres taking on Grant. He's done well. Now the cross in. Ball at the near post, but comfortable enough for Redmayne.
I think that's one of the rare occasions that Miguel Torres has been able to get a cross in. He had a couple of opportunities earlier where he could have done it first time, elected not to.
Two goals in 3 second-half minutes for Sydney FC have made the difference here at Allianz Stadium. It's going to be a first away defeat for the Mariners, barring a miracle. Since the third match of the season, they lost their first 2 away before going undefeated in 10. Caceres with Burgess. Fabio in the middle. Burgess trying to fashion a shot for himself. Caceres. In fact, it's Joe Lolly who's cramping up again. I think he's going to be the player to make way. They want to make the substitution. Lolly wants to come off, but it's a corner.
Well, I think it's a free kick on the edge of the box, actually.
And that's why Lolly's really staying out there.
Yeah. I think he just had a quick look over to Tale and said, yeah, let me have a strike at this one, and then I'm happy to come off.
And it is, by the looks of things, going to be Joe Lolly. Caceres is there as well. Luke Bratton took the last. This is even closer in. It's not easy when you're this close, if you try and go up and over the wall. Bratton has placed it. Lolly's had a word. Well, will Bratton try and finesse it? Will Lolly try and blast it? If he's going to blast it, it has to be either through the wall or Vukovic's side. Burgess is too close. He's not allowed to be that close to the wall. The referee's told him to move away. It is Lolly. He did go Vukovic's side, but it was blocked. And now it's out for the corner. And now we will see that substitution. Not sure it was on target from Joe Lolly, mind you.
Well, he's been good again, hasn't he, Joe Lolly? He's caused all manner of problems down that right-hand side.
Amanatides into the game, his 9th appearance of the season, all of them off the bench. And Jing Rees is also into the game. For Angel Torres, a disappointing evening for the Colombian as he makes his way out behind the goal. Ball in, the header. Hayden Matthews. The towering figure at the back. Came through the Sydney FC Academy. Now here's Fabio again. Amanatides with Burgess. Burgess managed to get the cross in. Fabio was looking to bring it down. Here's Joel King with Caceres. His cross back post to Amanatides. They were queuing up. Great chance for the youngster.
Oh, is that his first touch? It was a wonderful ball, but what happened to the defence from the Mariners? Two players, Ryan Grant and Amanatides. Couldn't direct his header on target. It was a great opportunity.
King Reese with something to chase. Is he caught? Hayden Matthews there. He's down holding his leg. And I think it was that leg that was, and I don't use the term lightly, horrifically broken during a training accident when he was a young kid at the Sydney FC Academy. A really nasty break that he had to work back from. Oh, he's caught himself.
He just caught the knee of Reese.
Barcelus has managed to win the throw, taken quickly with Reese. Back for Barcelus. Bratton gets it clear. Fabio under pressure, manages to turn away from Dan Hall, inviting Caceres forward. Now Amanatides, the flag stays down. Amanatides against Kaltak. Still Amanatides, still there, the shot blocked. As Kaltak and Hall manage to get back and then recover. Nisbet still surrounded by three sky blue shirts everywhere he's looked. He hopes he never sees that colour again after today. Fabio, no way through. Stripped of possession by his compatriot, Barcelus. 3 shots, well, and just one on target for the Mariners.
Just having a quick look at the stats myself. Touches in opposition box, 37 to 12. Sydney have been dominant.
And this is a Mariners side that score freely.
Well, yeah. We've got 370 passes for Sydney in the opposition half to 125.
And there's another opportunity for Amanatides, and it's another desperate challenge, this time from Dan Hall. And without Hall and Kaltak clearing off the line and diving into legs, it could have been a cricket score.
Yeah, you've taken the words right out of my mouth there. Those two, their desperation in the final challenge has really kept this river from becoming a tidal wave.
Look at that, blocked shots, 9 from Sydney FC, blocked by the Mariners, most of them by Brian Kaltak. Brad Tapp, who's gone off, and Dan Hall. Amanatides delivers back post. There's plenty of holding on in there. Burgess gets it away. Fabio. Again, it's Kaltak with the defence. Bratton with a little foot in there. They come again. Caceres still full of running. The cross for Fabio. Kaltak with a brilliant defensive header.
It's truly astonishing, this Sydney FC press. They are relentless. Every single time they look to play out the Mariners, they are surrounded by sky blue shirts. 2, 3, 4 sometimes. They just don't let the team breathe. You said the analogy earlier about trying to get their head above water. Well, they've been well and truly held down.
Fabio again. Joel King works his way back. Airplane now, Quall still running, trying to run it down. Here's Matthews, up the line. loose against the throw, even though every challenge, they want the ball, they want the throw, they want the free kick, everything. 90 seconds left. Blocked by Manatides. He was almost away again there.
Well, they're coming off the back of a loss to Wellington Phoenix last week, but I think this is a statement performance from Sydney FC. They have been getting better and better as the season goes on under Ufuk Talay, and they have given the Mariners nothing. The Mariners, who have their sights on a premiership trophy, have been kept at bay, have been dominated. This is the next 5 games for Sydney FC. I'll tell you what, I think they're a team to look out for as it heads into finals.
Perth on Wednesday. So midweek football for both these two sides, because the Mariners have that game in hand against Melbourne City on Tuesday as well. They've got plenty of football still to come. They've got to take on Kyrgyzstan side, Abdish Atakant, in the interzonal final on the 17th and 24th. If they do finish in the top 2, they will have that first week of finals off, and that is when the final of the AFC Cup will be played as well. So they definitely want to finish top 2, the Mariners. Otherwise, their congested fixture list could get very, very complicated with finals football. So this result is really a blow for them. They're still sitting second. They still have that game in hand. All of those boxes, sure. But this was a result that could have taken a huge step towards that top 2 finish. And when you look ahead, and they will be hoping to win that AFC Cup. They've said it right from the start of the season.
Without a doubt. Not only for the prestige of winning it, but it's a hefty payout too for the winners.
Redmayne goes long. The final whistle sounds and confirms an ominous message sent by Sydney FC, not only to the champions, the Central Coast Mariners, but to the rest of the league. Sydney FC are getting stronger and stronger as the business end of the season comes into tight focus. It may be 2-0, but this was a dominant performance, perhaps worthy of more. But it was a clear and net victory for the home side. 2 goals midway through the second half from Anthony Caceres against his former side, and a first in the A-League for Joel King were the difference. It's finished here at Allianz Stadium. A deserved 2-0 victory for Sydney FC over the champions, the Mariners. Well, let's head straight down onto the pitch with Neve Owens, who's with Joe Lolly.
Biggest game of the season. Tickets sell fast, and the City of